So it's my pleasure to introduce the moderator for this session. Mr. Sree Kumar is the CEO of Intellecap. Intellecap is a social sector advisory firm that serves corporates, nonprofits, development actors, governments, and others that are working in developing markets. They seek to assist clients in adopting profit-making social business models that contribute to drawing people out of poverty. Through their lifetime, they have already intermediated over $100 million in capital to development opportunities worldwide. So we're proud to have them as a partner in this event. Sree, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you all, Heather, Ashwin, and Christina, and ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. It is my privilege to be, as Christina said, the CEO of Intellecap, and it is my enormous privilege to moderate a very, very distinguished panel. And I can't wait to get back home and tell my in-laws that I was actually a moderator on a panel that included a former finance minister. Be that as it may. I think the background between Heather and Ashwin, I think we've learned about the background to the issue that we're looking at today. The first panel that is intended to examine the current state of private sector engagement in adaptation to climate change. And in order to do that, as I said, we have a very distinguished panel. I will ask each of the panelists to introduce themselves in a moment, and then we'll give them in a sequence which I will mention. We'll give them each 10 minutes for some prepared remarks, and then we'll open up the panel to a broader discussion. I think I will also add that as both Heather and Ashwin have alluded to, a lot of the work around climate change, a lot of the instinctive thinking around climate change tends to start with mitigation. And given the purposes of the work that we've been involved in, that the Rockefeller Foundation is funding, it's all entirely consistent with the Rockefeller Foundation's mission of promoting the well-being of humanity. But given the specifics of the studies that we're undertaking, the topic that we're discussing, I will take it on myself to occasionally interrupt and bring the discussion back to focus on resilience as opposed to mitigation, and which, as I say, is often the natural instinct for people to speak about. And I will also ask for specific attention to be paid. On the panel, we have a number of people who worked in North America or North America and Western Europe. I will ask for a frequent refocus on vulnerable communities. I will ask for a frequent refocus on emerging markets, and I will ask for a frequent focus on private sector opportunities. So I will say up front that I'm going to be interrupting to bring the focus back to those points. So with that as a background, I think I'll just introduce the participants as far as I can tell. I think we've actually had, as Christina mentioned, we've had one dropout who is Dr. Nifl from McKinsey. I'm going to, I won't speak for McKinsey, but I'm going to take a couple of minutes to speak to a couple of points that I know that he was going to make. I did speak to him on the phone a few days ago. Then the other panelists that we have...
One just arriving.
Welcome, Heather. So the other panelists that we have, starting from closest to me, I believe that is Heather Quinley of Duke Energy. I will give each of them a moment to introduce themselves. And next to Heather Quinley is Heather Coleman of Oxfam. So we have a total of 3 Heathers on stage this morning, which is, I'm sure, a tribute to the power of that name. And after Heather Coleman is Dr. Juan Jose Dabu of the Global Adaptation Institute. And after Dr. Dabu is Gary Lawrence of ACOM. And at the end of the table is my colleague Manju George of Intellecap.